The DeCavalcante family is considered to be a New Jersey-based family, precisely northern New Jersey, although they're known to have crews based in New York and Connecticut as well. Vinny Ocean Palermo hailed from Brooklyn. At a fairly young age, he began making both legitimate and illegitimate money while working at the Fulton Fish Market, a market that sold wholesale fish to retailers and restaurants. Vinny Ocean eventually moved on from the market and into a personal business, a fish store in Brooklyn, unsurprisingly named Ocean Fish. Speaking of which, it was through his involvement in the fish industry that he acquired his nickname. Prior to his career at the Fulton Fish Market, he married a relative of Simone Sam the Plumber DeCavalcante, and not long after, he was proposed by his father-in-law and DeCavalcante member, Robert Ochapinti. Following his induction, he was placed in the crew headed by Jimmy Rotundo. Years later, in January 1988, Rotundo would be killed in front of his Brooklyn home. Vinny Ocean also had a brother, Patsy, who became a member of the Colombo family. Sam the Plumber spent 1971 to 1973 in prison, and after his release, he retired to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and made John Riggi the acting boss of the family. On July 28, 1978, Vinny Ocean, along with his brother Patsy, killed their uncle, which was their mother's brother, over a family inheritance. Patsy Palermo would pass away himself in 1984. By the late 80s, Vinny Ocean was doing quite well for himself. Besides street rackets, he owned several businesses. To name a few, a car dealership, a car wash, a restaurant in Queens, a floating casino, and a strip club called Wiggles that was located in Forest Hills, Queens. Wiggles was also on a hit list of then Mayor Giuliani, who felt that sex shops and strip clubs were violating New York zoning laws. The late 80s were turbulent times for the DeCavalcantes. During this time, the family would experience big problems internally. In September 1989, Gambino boss John Gotti requested that the DeCavalcantes kill someone named Fred Weiss, a former journalist and real estate developer. Gotti believed Weiss would become an informant on a case involving a Gambino waste management company. John Riggi sanctioned the hit, and on September 11, 1989, Weiss was shot and killed in front of his Staten Island home. It's believed that Vinny Ocean and James Gallo were the shooters on the Weiss hit. Vinny Ocean would be given a captain's position following that murder. On October 16, 1989, acting boss John Riggi was arrested and indicted on a racketeering case. Initially, he appointed John D'Amato to replace him as acting boss, but D'Amato's time was short-lived, as he was exposed for allegedly being bisexual and disappeared in January 1992. Eventually, Riggi implemented a ruling panel which consisted of Vinny Ocean, Guillermo Palermo, no relation, and Charles Maggiore. However, Maggiore felt he was above being just a panel member and decided to make a move to become boss by planning to eliminate his fellow panel members. Vinny Ocean caught wind of Maggiore's plans and in turn plotted to hit him instead. He dispatched two DeCavalcante associates, Ralph Guarino and Joey Omicella, to do the work. But the two-man hit team would call it off after being spotted by a neighbor as they laid on Maggiore's house. On January 14, 1998, Guarino would mastermind a big robbery that took place in Manhattan. $1.6 million was stolen by three men from the Bank of America at One World Trade Center. All three robbery suspects were eventually arrested, as was Guarino, who quickly agreed to become an FBI informant. Joey Omicella, who was close to Vinny Ocean and often acted as his driver, became a liability due to a gambling habit where he racked up loans that exceeded up to $450,000. Loans owed to various wise guys, including members of the Gambino family. At one point, Vinny Ocean was so fed up with Masella that he literally kicked him in the balls and told him, "You know, by rights, I gotta kill you." On October 10, 1998, Masella was found shot to death in his car, parked at the Dyker Park Golf Course in Brooklyn. His murder would be one that Vinny Ocean would later be charged with. As a newly minted informant, Guarino began handing out surveillance-equipped cell phones, courtesy of the FBI, to most DeCavalcante members, Vinny Ocean in particular. Aside from information that he provided, he would also wear a wire for the FBI. For years, Guarino taped the DeCavalcante members, as well as the usually closed-mouthed Vinny Ocean, who spoke to him about a murder he was planning, as well as other murders, extortion, gambling, etc. Guarino was proposed to be inducted, but the FBI pulled him off the streets before that could take place. Armed with mountains of evidence, on December 2nd, 1999, the FBI arrested 39 people. 15 of those arrested were members of the DeCavalcante family, including Vinny Ocean. He faced charges of racketeering, including several murders, conspiracy to murders, extortion, loan sharking, gambling, and the usual gamut of charges. Up to that point, his only arrest was for stealing shrimp at the Fulton Fish Market. Facing the death penalty, or at the very least life in prison if convicted, Vinny Ocean Palermo made the decision to begin cooperating. His future testimony would cripple the DeCavalcante family. By October 2002, he would plead guilty to 4 murders, 7 murder conspiracies, extortion, loan sharking, gambling, and charges of obstruction of justice. In 2003, during the trial of 3 DeCavalcante captains, it came to light that Vinny Ocean failed to report that he handed over $1.7 million, which was profit from Wiggles, to his son. As part of his agreement with the government, he was required to forfeit any ill-gotten gains. As a result of this revelation, he almost had his cooperation agreement torn up. He also disclosed a funny incident during that trial, which involved his wife at the time putting out a garbage pail that had $700,000 in jewelry in a bag hidden beneath the garbage. The following week, Vinny Ocean and a few guys confronted the sanitation workers outside his house. With guns pointed to their heads, they demanded the jewelry back, but the workers swore that they knew nothing about the jewelry, and they let them go. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sitdownnews, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. Ultimately, Vinny Ocean served about 2 years in prison before entering the Witness Protection Program and being relocated to Texas. It would come to light years later that Vinny Ocean started his new life in Houston, Texas, and was back in the strip club business, as well as a Mexican restaurant, Ruchi's Grill, and the Super Clean Car Wash. He ran these companies under a corporation named Here We Go Again, Inc. He had 2 strip clubs that were in the seediest section of Houston, the Penthouse and All Stars Cabaret. In 2008, the Penthouse was shut down due to several violations of the city ordinance. It was cited for prostitution and drug dealing, and Vinny Ocean just shifted the dances over to the All-Star Cabaret, which was located directly across the street. But by September 2008, the Penthouse reopened its doors. While in Texas, Vinny Ocean, to some extent, changed his look and was using a different name, James Cabela. He was living in a palatial home on Memorial Drive. Nonetheless, on March 4, 2013, he filed for bankruptcy. And in September 2015, he put the Memorial Drive home up for sale for $2.5 million. Presently, he lives at a more discreet location.